we're at the top of the hour and now it looks like Captain Eddie's hasn't popped in yet. So we're going to go ahead and get the program started. And so I guess we'll lead off with doing gallery. It looks like we got a fair amount of folks wanting to do gallery tonight, which is great. Got 52 folks online tonight. That's a great number to have straight up at the top of the hour. Um, and we have a really good demo plan, and we'll do that. We'll go to our featured demonstration tonight at top of the next hour and see
Hey,
what Mr. Scott Tague is going to be doing. So with that, Matt, let's
Dane.
cue up the gallery. Yeah, Brenda.
Hey, I just seen Connie from North Carolina. This is her first meeting? Would you like to go
Connie.
say hi?
Yes,
Welcome, Connie.
absolutely.
Hey,
Welcome,
Connie.
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 Welcome to the group, Connie. You're going to get a lot of information from here. You're going to hear a lot of us talking about anything and everything related to wood turning. Um, there's a lot of professional turners here, and
You're,
what we're going to
you're
do
muted.
is
You're
we
muted, Connie.
we demystify wood turning. We reveal all the secrets that everybody wants to hold on to because we want to pass it on to others. That way, they can pass it on to the folks that they're familiar with. Um, so, if you have any questions
Can
or
you
concerns on anything, please ask, and guaranteed we'll get at least 10 different ways of how to tackle that item.
That's
And
true.
then out of those 10 items, there's probably going to be one or two that are going to be, for the benefit of what you're trying to do. Um,
Hey,
so
Connie, you're
we have
you're
a lot of
muted. You're
information.
muted right now. If you go to the lower left corner of your screen, you'll see where it's yeah, you've got it
There we
now.
go. So if you would like to introduce yourself to the group, and that'll be your breaking the ice point, and then from there, the next meeting and the next meeting, you'll be right on par with everybody else because you'll definitely get more out of the group by being active as opposed to just sitting in the background. So go ahead, Connie, tell us a little bit about your wood turning journey.
Okay, well, I started wood turning after I retired, and it's was way out of my comfort zone. I always say I should have took shop in high school, and I kid that I've, got a screwdriver in my shop, and all the guys have all this equipment, and they're making all their tools and jigs and everything. So, um, you know,
Indeed.
I I don't, I wood turning isn't like the only thing I do, so obviously I don't do it enough. I certainly don't do wood turning to sell anything. I give everything I make away to unsuspecting people who think it's great. So that makes me,
Yes.
Right.
they don't,
Right.
they
Yes.
don't see the
Cool.
flaws.
Yep.
Um, so just here to learn.
Okay.
Well,
Well, great.
you're gonna have a lot of
Welcome,
fun tonight.
everybody. Give Connie a warm welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
welcome, Connie.
hey,
Welcome,
we got a
Connie.
new member. Thanks
Thank you.
for
Yeah.
thanks for letting us know that you're new.
What
You'll
part of
you'll
North
enjoy the
Carolina are you
evening.
from, Connie?
You'll enjoy the evening a lot. You'll enjoy it a lot.
Where are you from, Connie?
I'm in Hickory, North Carolina, which is about an
Oh,
hour north of Charlotte and about an hour and 20 east of Asheville.
Home of Klingspor.
Yes, Klingspor.
Yeah.
I belong to a club here. We meet second Saturday of the month.
I'll demo there February.
Oh, okay. Well,
See
I'm
you
not,
then.
yeah,
You're in for a treat there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right?
Hopefully.
Yeah, for sure.
Hopefully.
what are you demoing, Jim?
Oh, Lord. Offset chuck, I think. I
Okay.
think.
Ducks Chuck.
Uh,
All right, that's great. All right. Well, thank you very much, Connie. And looks like Rob Culver from Monterey, California. This is his second meeting as well. Sorry we missed you on your first meeting, but big warm welcome for you as well. If you feel like introducing yourself, that would be great. You would have to come on video screen, otherwise you can hang back and enjoy the program. But aside from that, regardless, welcome to the group. Glad to have you. And so with that, Matt, let's get a little bit of gallery going here.
You're up first, Dane, so go right ahead.
Oh, how about that? I'm first. So as the majority of the folks know, I've got cats. I've got 5 stray cats that I've adopted over the last 7, 8 years now. And one of them is diabetic. And so consequently, we used to free feed all the cats. And so now we have to monitor how much food that we can give them, based on what the vet is saying. So for the kibbles, I always give them a quarter of a cup. And my wife got tired of searching for the measuring cup, her quarter cup measuring cup. And so she said the other day, I'm going to buy you another measuring cup so you can stop using my cups. And what do we do if we can make it? We go grab ourselves a piece of wood, and we make our own measuring cup. And so
There you go.
out of a
Very
piece of
nice,
mesquite,
Dane.
Beautiful.
Very nice.
Yeah, it is.
quarter cup. So yeah, so now I'm set. She won't be upset. So that's it for me.
That's a
But
nice touch.
instead of spending $1 on a cup at the Dollar Tree, you spent $3 on wood and 4 hours to make it.
Well, had a little chunk of wood about 3 inches in diameter. It had been cut. It was a piece of limb. So I threw it on the bandsaw, cut it in half.
Yeah.
Then went at it.
Dollar Tree
So
went in.
It's a nice
that's what I
looking
did
piece.
today.
How you doing?
Yep, thank you.
You're not alone, Dane. We've all done it.
Yep.
Oh yes, right.
Hey,
And
a
it's
couple
a
hours-
perfect quarter cup. Perfect quarter cup.
Yep.
Hey, a couple.
Show that again, Dane. Show that again. Okay, so
try to get a cup that
I'm
gorgeous.
I'm looking where the
for a
stem
buck.
and the stem and how it fastens together. So, did you round the stem off as you because you knew you were
No,
putting it on a little piece?
No, I did this the easy way. So I had the block of wood, and once I got it round, I drilled my hole, and I drilled it long enough to where when it came time for me to turn around and hollow the inside. So I did the outside, drilled it, then I made the handle, then made my 1/4-inch tenon, and I made it, I don't know, 1/2 inch long to make sure it goes all the way in. So, and when I was hollowing it out, like a box, everything came clean for the stem being inside, and I set it right where the pith was at on the limb.
So, yeah, where
And so,
it meets
so on the
where
inside,
it
you
meets
can't.
the bowl.
So on the inside, you can't even see where the tenon was trimmed off.
Cool.
It's a nice piece of wood.
Nicely
too.
done. Nicely
Nice.
done.
Yeah, I
Nicely
wanted
done,
to save
Dan.
the sapwood on it. Yeah, came out good. Old linseed oil, and then followed it up with Parfix 3408, and it is not buff. But it's
Wow.
still got a
Nice.
nice sheen to it.
It's
Yep.
going to see
Hey,
use.
guys.
You don't need it buffed. Very nice, Dane.
I
Next
look
up
at
is
it this
Dewey.
way, Dan. The couple hours you spent on the lathe is a lot cheaper than
Amen.
going to a psychiatrist. The stress release is a lot cheaper.
Hey,
Yep.
that's what I'm saying.
All right, what you got, Dewey?
Oh, howdy, everybody. I this piece I did show on the Facebook page how an intermediate how to do it, but I finally got it finished. And this is
Shiny.
kind of an urn, and so kind of
Beautiful.
That's
epoxy.
beautimous.
It is just
Yeah.
beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah, I saw your pictures online, Dewey. It looks
Yeah.
great.
Right.
It's a shame that it doesn't have any shine to it.
maybe if you'd fix your lighting in there, Dewey.
Yeah, and it's resin inside and out. It's just that
Beautiful, Dewey.
I could shave in that thing.
Oh, I really like the bottom.
Yeah, you got
That-
stuff
yeah,
going
that's
on
cool.
all over it.
That's really cool.
It's gorgeous.
Thank you. Thank you.
My goodness.
Nice job.
Made from an old piece of
Beautiful.
metal around for a long time, and I'm so anyway, it's going to go to our club Christmas auction here in a couple of weeks. So hopefully it'll bring a lot of money for the club. So
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Good.
I'm sure it will. I'm sure it will.
Hey, Dewey, I hope you don't have to buy it back.
oh. I got a feeling it's going to go for at least $10.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, thanks a lot, guys. I just wanted to share
Yeah,
that
you
with
bet,
you.
Dick.
That's
Yep,
really
very nice,
pretty
Dewey.
good.
Thank you. Yep, next up, Ruby's got something. What you got, Ruby?
Okay, while I was in England, I took a couple days and took a class with Colin Way. And he's falling apart already. So I never got this finished, and I didn't glue everything together because he still has to be painted up and ready to go. And oddly enough, I had a neighbor who didn't know I had done this, came in with this one, and it had a lot of parts broken and missing. Like the bow was all broken, and this knife was missing, and so I ended up turning and making the different parts to put this
There you
guy
go.
back together for them.
Oh, that's
That's
good.
Great.
But
That's
it
a lot of fun, isn't
it operates the same way as mine does.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
They're so
Very cool.
much fun. They're so much fun to make.
Very
That's
cool.
Nice
Yeah.
job.
Nice.
Like-
Very nice.
That's like my
How did
sons
you
when
make
they're
the boat? How did
teenagers,
you
you
make the-
step on their foot and their mouth opened.
okay, that's
very-
it for me.
Very cool. I'm going to jump Paul up in the list because he's late at night.
Yep.
Not stay awake that long.
Hey, Paul.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've got the piece I was doing last week in the demo.
Oh,
Oh,
gorgeous.
yeah.
I bit.
Beautiful.
I sort
Yeah,
of
it is. Just
got that
beautiful.
far in the demo, and then I've also done it on the inside now.
Oh, wow.
We've painted
Yes,
this, but
beautiful.
instead of doing the sort of the way I shaded the outside by applying the two colours, dark colour first and then sanding it back. What I did with this one was to paint the inside with the light colour dye, and then just in the centre, I've highlighted that with a darker colour. So I just sort of shaded it just with the airbrush really, rather than the sanding sort of technique. So slightly different, but it picks up the ripple
looks
in the wood.
Yeah,
Looks
lovely.
fantastic.
The figure
Oh,
in
you
there.
got some good lighting in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
beautiful.
it's got quite the sheen. That looks
And,
great.
Very nice, Paul.
Thank you.
And
Thanks for
those
that, and thanks for the demo.
So real
That's
quick,
good.
Matt. So for those that missed the demo last week on our YouTube channel, you can click on Paul's video and see how he did the dyeing job on that piece. He did a wonderful demo on how to dye and bring out boring grain and make it look spot on. So once again,
Yes, he
thank you,
did.
Paul.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was great. It was a great demo. Thanks, Paul.
Cheers.
Next up is
Get a
Albert.
copy of that video to you, Paul.
Hey, Matt. I saw that Wayne's on. If he has something to show, he can go in front of me.
He
Wayne?
doesn't have anything to show.
Okay. No,
Thanks,
hey,
Al.
I mean that's 5 hours ahead of us.
Yeah,
Wayne,
been
how you
looking at
doing? But I don't even know how I can explain this. I feel like throwing it right through the wall. I made this. I hollowed out. I got some crazy looking wings on it. It's starting to crack. Now I hollowed it out, but this is also a tip. Now a lot of times, if I'm going to do this, I'll bore, my Forster bit inside to help me out, right? And every once in a while in the past, I put a mark somewhere, and I put a mark somewhere, and I put a mark somewhere. You know what? It's probably safer, and I'm going to tell you now, this is my tip. Put a piece of tape on it because I was hollowing through. I was hollowing through, and I was hollowing through, and I was hollowing through. I was looking at the wrong. I was looking at the wrong. Oh man, I was afraid to throw everything like right through the roof. But I got it hollowed out, but I still continued doing it. I grabbed it at both ends. I have to just put something on the bottom of it.
Yeah, cut a plug.
Nice and thin. Well, I wasn't going to let it get away from me after that. Now, with Ruby, I showed the nutcracker that I made, and if you saw on Facebook, I'm making 5 more. That's one of the things I've been pretty busy all week with. And I was talking with some people about the makings of it. It's a block of wood, another block of wood. This is the head. From here to here is the body. Now, what I did was before the head was glued on, I had my bandsaw, and I just went in, and I made this block out here. Then I turned it around, and that's how you do the same thing again, and you could get it hollowed out. Am I explaining it? Am I explaining it properly? Anyways, now this is the clapper, and it goes and you want to do a lot of these things before you start turning. You want to still be in some kind of square form, and what you do is you're going to hit and miss a little bit, but you try to find a hole that's going to make this clapper center. And I have right now, just because here, I just want to show. I have just a nail that I'm going to stick in there, and now there's going to be a lot of turning. There's going to be a lot of turning done on this piece of wood yet, and but that's probably the most difficult part of making a nutcracker. And then the rest, you're gonna. I mean, we're gonna spin it. It's gonna, get spun. This be a head. This be the body. There's separate legs that go on, and then there's feet that go on, then arms. But that's probably the most difficult part, is making that. If you don't have some kind of like a router jig. Now, if you have a router jig, I mean, simple dimple. But that's probably the hardest part of making those. And the other thing is, now this is going to be a follow up. I made these before, and I made another one this week. It's called a femisphere. It's a continuous. What do we call it? A curve. But it's continuous. Surface. Yes. A very simple thing to make. It's called, like I said, it's called a femisphere. Now, if it's done right, you could put it on a little slanted platform, and it will walk straight down, like the old time slinky. But it's a simple thing. I turned this all on centers. If you could see this little small part, and then there's a wider part. And then, how can I explain that? Okay, so here's this side, and here's this side. So in other words, if you could see this little part right here. So I was going like this on both, and it created that. I'm sorry, the whole thing is it's a split turn. If you could see my line, when I was doing this, I had a piece of paper in between, and I turned just this, and then you break it apart and you turn it. So that little part right now, I think I got to fix my phone again, because I'm going right and I'm going left at the wrong time. But anyway, you turn it 180 degrees, and it gives you that. It's a fun little project. Yeah. A femisphere. There's 1,000 videos on YouTube how to do it.
Nice job,
This is. I'm working on a thing. I've been following Mike with Dances with Aardvarks, and he's got a crazy thing on. It's called a hexasphericon. It's 12 points. I'm ready to throw that one through the window right now too. I'm going to do it again style show next week.
Can't do that.
But I'm gonna have a continuous groove. I'm gonna have marble in there, and it's gonna go back and forth, and it's gonna stay inside of all that. And again, it's another split turning. Hopefully
Trying to
I
keep
get that
people
put
in
together.
line, you know.
But yeah,
These
it's,
guys.
go check out Mike with Dancing with Aardvarks.
You know,
Very
that's-
very intelligent fella. He's got his math way beyond mine. But
Yeah,
he
he
got
does.
the very
I second that, Al. He does. Yeah, I've been watching his videos for months. He does some really great stuff.
right. I'm telling you, it's
Dances with Aardvarks is the channel.
right. He's very enjoyable. You know, I everybody check him out. Anyways,
Yeah,
again,
but fair warning, there's math. So
oh my, yeah, geometry. What gets me going is when it starts talking about millimeters, and I have to stop and think that he's still talking. But I'm starting to think they take 20 millimeters. Okay, that's almost an inch. You know, so I'm like millimeters, inches. You know, so that stops me a little bit as I'm paying attention. So I have to watch videos several times. But anyway, it's a lot of fun. Everybody have a good evening. You know, I hope everyone very good night. All you new people, you're going to enjoy this evening. You're going to enjoy it. So everybody be good.
Thanks, Al.
That fella's name, that's great, Al. That fella's name is Mike Kim, by the way.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
K-E-C-E-M-M, I believe.
Yes.
He's really good. Very entertaining.
Yep.
He is.
Yep. Okay, well, next up is Brenda. What you got, Brenda?
Hi, guys.
Hey, Brenda.
I've been
Fingers.
getting Christmas. So first, let me show you what I've been doing last week. This is my quilt. I've been making a quilt.
Nice.
And I know you're going to ask me, well, that's not turning. Well, the reason I'm showing this is because I was making this and thinking I want to make some ink pens for each of my kids and grandkids. This one's for my granddaughter. So I wanted to make her an ink pen, right? So I went out and made ink pens today. This is going to be her ink pen.
Oh, wow.
Cool.
I'm going to make it match the blanket.
Nice.
Cool.
All right. Well, right now all I've got is black marker.
Pretty clever. That's pretty clever.
And then I made
How many segments? How many segments were in that?
I don't know. I ain't counted them yet.
Is it actually segmented, or are you?
No, I made pencil marks.
Oh, okay.
Pencil
I see.
marks.
Colored it in.
Yeah, now I'm just coloring it in. Yeah.
It's glue, that's for sure.
The
Great
next
job.
question was how many? I was going to say how many per ring.
Yeah. Next
How
week.
many
I'll let you
pieces
know
per ring?
next week or something.
No, but that's pretty though.
So then I
Pretty.
made this one for one of them.
That's pretty.
Not sure what this wood is. I think it was Choctaw Vega. I don't know. And this one.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty.
Wow.
Is
Yeah.
your Choctaw an orangish color?
It's
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's a good wood.
Okay.
It is. Choctaw Vega is a good wood. It's
Okay.
Yes, it
nice
is.
and hard.
Yes.
Shines up beautifully.
And then this one is
Very, very oily.
actually it felt like it turned a lot like this oak.
Yeah. It's a very hard wood.
It is.
Mexican wood.
Yeah.
It's also
Wait,
called
wait.
orange heart sometimes.
Wait, no, not great.
Okay.
Jeez. Okay.
This one is made out of oak that I got from Doug Miller from a church pew. So
Cool.
that's what I got. 3 ink pens and a quilt.
Very
Nice
cool.
Very
job.
nice.
Nice job.
Well, the quilt is very pretty too. Show us again.
It's
I mean, that's a lot of work.
yeah.
That's a lot of work. I have some friends that do that. That's a lot of work.
It's only about a third of the way done.
Right? That's a lot of work. That's pretty.
Yeah.
Very
Thank,
nice, Brenda.
thank you. That's all
Cool. Cool. Thanks, Brenda.
Right on. Thanks, Brenda.
Yeah.
Next up is Billy. Billy's got some stuff to show. He's awake.
Well, I've been awake. I showed this unfinished last week. This is that cigar ashtray that I was asked to make, and this is Blackjack Oak. I had it oiled last week. It wasn't quite finished. Now it is. It's got 2 coats of satin oil-based poly on it. Took a while to dry, but it's done, and now I can get it delivered to the lady that ordered it for her dad.
It's too nice to use, Billy.
That's what a lot of people have said. It's, but Blackjack Oak never ceases to amaze me. First, it's spalted, and you can see the black line spalt in it, but it's just, the figure in it is absolutely awesome. And the sapwood would have been over here, and at the edges, you can see the quarter sawn fleck because of the fact of how it was cut. But I really like it, and she likes it. At least she likes the picture that I sent her. Well, I was freezing. We were freezing our butts off Saturday at a craft fair. Rained all day. High got up to like 43, and a guy came up to me and said, "Do you make cigar ashtrays?" I was like, yes, as a matter of fact, I do.
Right.
He commissioned me to turn one for him. This is spalted hackberry. This is the second piece, actually the third piece that I cut up to try to make into an ashtray. The first piece was also spalted hackberry, and apparently a dozen carpenter bees decided they were going to set up shop for the winter, and it's full of holes. I killed at least 12 carpenter bees coming out of that piece. Needless to say, it was too holy to go. This one only had 4 carpenter bees in it, and that's the only remaining hole.
Wow.
You can see right here. But
too bad you couldn't have incorporated that into the cigar slots.
Yeah, well, I made sure this one came out in the corner, so that's as close as it got. But this is where this is going. The outside's been sanded and coated with sanding sealer. The inside hasn't been sanded yet. I just finished it up before I came in the house this evening.
Yeah.
So it's hollowed and flat and ready to sand, and I've got the slots cut. So
yeah, it looks good, Billy.
I like your idea.
Number 2
of
almost
having
done.
That rim, and then you made your round carve for holding the cigar. I like how you made that rim come up. The one that I didn't do that, and I had a complete mark from the corner all the way in, and I think I messed it up. I think yours looks a lot neater by doing that rim like that.
Thank you. I was thinking about it when I was making the first one, and I thought, cigars are long and heavy. It needs something I don't want a big round lip around this thing. Just something to give it some depth to lay them on. And so I decided to go with square and see how it would come out. And I like it.
Those notches are bigger than the notches in the first one. Are they for different cigars? Or I'm not kidding. I mean,
well, you're actually right. They are a little bit bigger than the notches in the first one. The notches in the first one may not be quite big enough. They're big enough that'll keep the cigar from rolling, but I think I should have made them a little bit wider, Jim.
I thought that at first when I saw it.
Yeah, I mean, my finger rests nicely in them, and most cigars aren't much bigger than the tip of my finger, but some of those fat boys are, and they'll fit in this one just fine. Because yeah, you can see the difference in size.
Yeah.
Also, black oak, you said black oak is spalted. Is that a dead tree or is that a live tree that grows that way?
No, it's spalted.
It's dead then.
It was standing
White
there.
carpenter ants were in there.
Yeah, it was standing there full of carpenter ants when I cut it down.
Oh, okay.
So it was
Oh, yeah.
already dead. And apparently much of it had spalted standing there.
Yeah.
The spalt has continued where I've got it stored, but it's not spalting quickly enough to cause any punkiness. So I'm really happy about that. I've got about 3 logs of this left.
You did say blackjack oak, not black oak. Is that correct,
Yes,
Billy?
blackjack oak.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
I had never heard of blackjack oak before. It's a red oak, of course, but it sure is pretty.
Pretty.
I've got one tree here, and it's not even supposed to be in Michigan. So I've seen it on my walk, and I noticed it because the leaves are different than all the other oaks I've seen. So it's like,
yes.
What the heck is this? And start doing searching for it. So.
Yep.
Well, if you want blackjack, come to North Texas. We got gobs of it.
Yeah, Ohio, Kentucky have a lot of it too, but not here. All right. Well, thanks, Billy. Is that it?
Yes, that's it. Thank you.
Okay. Very
Beautiful.
nice.
Thank you, everyone.
So next up is Doug.
Hey guys, it's good to see everybody. I kind of wondered if I was going to have anything tonight, but I do. First thing I did last Thursday was looking. I was kind of finished up everything I had going, and I looked for something to do. So I pulled up one of my pieces of pear, made a little green goblet. I did a red one a couple years ago, and it's still sitting around, but I thought that needs a green one to go with it. So nice green, used the forest green intrinsic dye on that. And then it's got about 5 or 6 coats of lacquer on it. Still have to take the bottom off, of course, but I thought it came out pretty nice for really, truly a piece of firewood.
Looks nice. Yeah.
Same
good,
with
Doug.
That's really pretty, Doug.
Same with this piece of hackberry. It had splits and checks and cracks in it, but I turned this one yesterday. Still have to take the bottom off of it as well. I still need a little finish on it. I started using the spray polyacrylic, and it was the end of the can, and so it's got a texture to it that I don't like it very much. So I'm probably going to sand it a little bit just to smooth it out, and probably put a couple coats of lacquer on top of that, and it'll be done, other than taking the bottom off. But you can see there, excuse me?
I was just going to say, I've had the same issue with full cans of polyacrylic.
Yeah, that could be an issue.
I like it, but it likes the orange peel and splatter, and I don't know why.
Yeah, it was as much splatter as anything.
Right.
But used a lot of Paul's technique here. I did black dye, sanded it back. It was pretty much gone, but there was enough left in the soft grain that it held. And then I dyed it the plum, which is a purple color. Sanded it from here down to the fat part here, the 2/3 line, and then just kind of blended that area so that it wasn't a sharp line, and added sky blue, and it really made a difference. I love get it where the light, that little section right through there, that the grain just coming through is just gorgeous there.
It is really pretty.
It is spectacular. Yeah.
That is really pretty.
And
If you're going to coat that with lacquer on top of the poly, you need to make sure that poly is fully cured first.
Yeah, it's pretty well cured now. Like I said,
they won't react well together.
Right. And this will get a sanding with probably 320, get it nice and smooth. You can almost see the texture there.
Yeah.
You can see it in the sides. Yep.
Yeah, it's in the poly. It's not in the wood. The wood was soft and smooth, just in that polyacrylic. So that can's gone. I won't be getting any more of that.
Doug,
no.
if I could make a suggestion on that, I'd wet sand it at 400 to take all those nibs off. I think 300.
Yep.
it's gonna mar your coloring.
It shouldn't. That's been sanded. The last two before the last two coats of polyacrylic was sanded with 320 dry. I didn't get any color at all. I've got enough poly on there now.
Okay.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
I do know what you're saying. Yeah, if it's just one coat, you could go through it and get in the color real quick. But yeah, thank you.
Well, Doug, I enjoy all your lives, and yesterday's was very informative. So
Well, thank you. Thank you.
you're welcome.
I was glad to catch part of it too. It was cool.
And
Thanks,
anybody
guys.
that's free on Tuesdays, he's at 3:00
Yeah,
Eastern
careful,
time.
Careful.
Yeah.
Careful.
Put it in the chat.
All right. Thanks very
Great
much,
job.
Doug.
Thank you,
Yes,
Doug.
sir. You're welcome.
Next up is Todd.
Hey, all right. Thank you. So I have a question for Billy, and my mouth was full because I was still eating while he was demonstrating. But so I've made one cigar ashtray in the past, and I put slate in the bottom of it, slate coaster.
Right.
And on one of yours, Billy, you had a piece of like corian or something in there, and on the other one you didn't. And
Yeah, this is Corian.
and my question is, I thought people might put the cigar in there and the cigar would hit the bottom there and possibly start to burn or leave marks in the bottom or whatnot. Is that a concern, or am I missing that?
With the design that you used, without the lip to lay the cigar on, the cigar is going to sit down into the bowl. So I would most definitely put something like a round slate or something inside it. With this one, the cigar is going to rest
Okay.
simply crossways and not down into the bottom of the bowl.
That plan
Number
would
one.
be ashes only?
Yes. And number two, he specifically requested something that I could engrave his initial in.
Oh.
He wants it personalized. And my engravers will not do Corian. They blister it and bubble it up, but they don't. It's not a pretty engraving. This will engrave pretty. So
well, consider
that's why
slate.
I'm leaving. That's why I'm
yours-
leaving this blank.
Yours will engrave that slate just like
It will.
mine did. So
It will. I could get some. I don't have any round slate. I could get some, I suppose.
yeah.
Very cool. That's a great discussion, guys. Thank you.
Yeah.
Any cigar that's burned plastic or wood is shot. Okay.
Yes.
You just don't smoke a cigar that's been burned wood or plastic or corian or any of it.
I would hope not, I guess. Yeah, that
You
makes sense.
can't touch the bottom or it's gone.
Yep.
So Jim Duxbury there, what I'm going to show next was something from Rita in Waco. Basically, yesterday I made 3 lighthouses.
Cool.
So one there,
Oh wow!
one here, and one here. Because I think I said it before, when I came back from SWAT, everything started looking like a lighthouse. And so because her demo was awesome and everything. But on like a personal note, these are going to be gifts for my brother, my sister, and my nephew. This is Bradford pear that came out of off a tree in my parents' backyard. And
Cool.
back on March 23rd, my daughter and I went over to help my mom I put out mulch and stuff for her, and she had a limb come down in the storm. And so we had that thing cut up, and she had promised that limb cut up for my sister to use in a fire pit on her patio. And she wouldn't let me take any of it. And I was like, I really want that wood. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, because it was just small limbs, 3-inch to 6-inch limbs, maybe 18 inches long, fireplace size little limbs. And then, 5 days later on March 29th, my mom passed away. And so one of my last memories of my mom is out there and messing with that wood. And so about 2 weeks after she passed away, I went out there and I collected up all that wood. And I said, my sister doesn't get to burn this anymore. And I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it, but I'm taking it home and putting it outside of my garage instead of it being outside of my mom's garage where it'll get wasted. And so when I came back from SWAT, I knew what I would do with that wood. And
Excellent.
so I'm so grateful for having seen that demo and everything to be able to make these little, like, I didn't put a lot of work into these. It's, they're rough. They're, they're not meant to be, perfect woodworking items. And so,
I'm just glad Rita's taking a bath, or she'd be over there pestering you.
I have no.
She'd be complaining because you didn't put the holes in the top.
Yeah.
So I debated over and over about the holes, and I'm just not going to do the holes in these for whatever reason. And then, so yeah, and my proportions aren't right probably, and all of that. That just that wasn't necessarily the point for me on it, and but so grateful to have come back and then known what I was going to do with those. And then, in the meantime, I had made a bunch of small lighthouses that I've shown on here before, from little pins and whatnot, just trying to get the proportions right and whatever before I made those. So
She made 7 today. She's got the whole shop stacked full of little blocks of wood, pieces of branch, and who knows whatever.
Yeah. I have about 18 pieces of that wood that are the right size to make those. I made those 3 this afternoon, and so I'll probably make 3, 4, 5 more tomorrow. As I get better at it, I'll decide which one I'm going to keep. But
if you make enough, you should be able to get better, Todd.
Well, you would think, but that doesn't always work for me.
Yeah, I hear you. I think we all experience that. So
yeah,
what you need when you're making them in repetition, when you're learning, what you ought to do is make a few and then go make something else real quick just to get it out of your mind and then come back to it.
Yeah. That's probably right. So.
Rita's to the point now she can hear a chainsaw about 3 miles away.
I'm in the same boat and I got bad hearing. I'm in the same boat and I got bad hearing.
I was on my way to a doctor's appointment yesterday, and up the road around the curve, they'd taken down the block wall for the backyard, and they were cutting down an Arizona ash. And I immediately hit my brakes, but then I looked at the time and I'm like, damn, I don't have enough time to gather any of this wood and make my doctor's appointment on time. And, so come back through, the wall was put back up, this big Arizona ash, it had to have been 2 foot in diameter at the base. I was just almost in tears driving by, not seeing that tree anymore, and knowing that I could have got some of the wood if I didn't have that damn doctor's appointment. But yep, I hear you.
I may have canceled the doctor's appointment.
Yep, priority. Yep, priority.
Yeah, this one I couldn't cancel. So, but, all right, good story there.
I would have been fine.
I'd have called him and said, "Traffic is really bad. I'm on my way, but I'm going to be a little late."
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah,
save it.
I'll be kicking myself in the ass for that. So, all right. So with that, we're at a lull for a gallery. So, folks, if you've been making stuff and you want to show it off, throw identify in the chat, put your name. Your name will be there automatically. Say you got something to show, and then along with that, everybody that is showing a gallery piece tonight, please make sure you're taking a photo of it and emailing it to editor@worldwidewoodturners.org so we can put it into the newsletter. You were proud enough to show it here. We want to be able to show it in the newsletter because it goes out to masses, and and it's totally free, and it's your art, and it's something to be proud of. So with that, let's go to Safety Sue and see what she has for our safety moment this evening. Hey, Sue. There you go.
We're still on. It's the little things. I kind of like that because sometimes we just think that "Oh, it's just a little thing, it won't matter." And it does matter. So it's the little things. We discussed it before. Before you step into your shop, are your tools sharp? Do you have your grinder and it's ready to go? What kind of clothes have you got on? Are they loose clothes? Are they very loose, like long sleeves? Can they get caught in your lathe? What kind of shoes do you have on? Tennis shoes with canvas on top of them, or Crocs, or sandals are not good enough. You should really have something with a composite toe or a leather type shoe on. It's better than being barefoot. And when something hits you, at least your whole foot won't be bruised, or if you gets hit with a gouge, you won't be bleeding. Also, are you comfortable on your feet? Have you got the right stance? Can you move back and forth? Now, I understand that when you're sitting down to do turning, that's a little bit harder. You have to get used to that. But still in all, we want to maintain our balance and we want to be able to present our tools safely. Another thing and it's mainly about maintenance, your V-belts. Most people, even if it's a variable speed, you still got V-belts. Check them once in a while. Make sure that they're not worn down. Do you need new ones? Everything that we can think of will ensure our safety. Please do it. Always turn off your lathe if you're going to adjust your tool rest, or adjust it across the banjo, or adjust your tailstock. So folks, some of it thinks, well, it's just a little thing, I can get away with it. No. What happens to the time that you can't get away with it? So folks, I hope you're safe this week, and I hope to see you next week. So good luck shopping and doing all kinds of Christmas good stuff. And I'll see you next week. Take care, everyone.
Thank you,
All right,
Sue.
thank you, Sue.
Thank you,
Good
Sue.
advice there. If you take care of the little things, the big things should come natural and help prevent you from having a boo-boo while you're at the lathe. We want you to, when you enter the shop, like I post pretty much every day on the Facebook page, when you go in the shop, we want you to come out of the shop better than when you went in. So with that, we are almost at the top of the hour. So we're going to go to our featured demonstration tonight. We have Mr. Scott Tigg. It's going to put on a outstanding demo for us here. Found him. And so with that, it's his demo. He's going to be turning it his way. It may be different than how you would do something. So with that, if you have any questions or concerns, please put them in the chat. Unless Scott wants to facilitate interaction from the group while he's turning, he will do so. Otherwise, when you put a question in the chat, I will ask Scott at an opportune time when he's doing a tool changeover and not specifically turning and doing a detail to interrupt his concentration on what he's doing. So, Scott, we got you now, buddy.
Okay. So I'm going to show you this. This is what we're going to make tonight. And we're going to have a little blackout here for a second. This also lights up.
Wow.
So
wow,
That's
very cool.
That's a cool light.
So I got this idea from Carl Jacobson a few weeks ago, but I've modified some of the ways I do it. Not saying his way was a bad way. It made it difficult. So I'll show you how he did it, explain why I changed what I changed, and you can do it however you want. You'll have both ways of doing it. So he drills he drills his hole in the bottom, which is 29/64, which fits this little light. That little light just barely, it goes in there. So it's a little sloppy. So you have to glue it in. But then he also used one of his inserts that he uses in his
You're muted,
Scott,
Scott.
you muted.
So I'll
There you
start
go.
back from the beginning. So he drills a 29/64 hole in here for the light to go in. And then he uses a insert and he hot glues it in here. Now, one of the problems I had when I hot glued it in there, if you use too much pressure or you don't get it on straight, it wobbles. And this particular blank started out round. The plastic was already round. It was a rod rather than a square. Like most of the time you get plastic, it's in a square, bottle stopper size square. And that's what I started with, was a bottle stopper size piece. I found that insert would loosen up and it would cause the piece to wobble, especially if you didn't have tailstock support. I just didn't like that idea. So being the engineer that I am, I came up with my solution. I switched to my pin jaws, which don't go down small enough to grab a hold of something that would fit in here and hold and use it as a jam chuck. So I made an expandable chuck. So this is an expandable chuck. So I turned this down so it just barely goes in that hole like that. You turn the screw on the bottom, which pulls that sleeve into that hole. And you can see I sawed slots in this so it expands outward. Okay, that was the first one I made. I made it out of wood. I didn't like that because it was hard to take it in and out of the pin jaws and get it back in the same place and make it run true. So this is my second one. It's the same procedure. The only difference is I made this out of hard plastic that I can turn on the lathe. So now I have a nice flat bottom for it to rest on, and it seems to run a lot truer. But it still has a drawback. Yep, it still has a drawback. It does have a little flex because you got a hole that goes all the way through for that screw. So the next one I make, I'm going to make out of a piece of aluminum and do this exact same thing, except I'm going to make it out of aluminum and turn the aluminum down to whatever size I need to make an expandable chuck.
Nice.
So this just goes in here. You turn the screw. Like so. Now it's on there. It's not coming off. So when you make this expandable chuck, it's not just drilling a hole in there. Take this one apart because it's easier to get it apart. In order to make this work correctly, it's not a straight hole. So you're going to drill a hole in there the size of that thing right there. Or just, actually I drilled it just a hair smaller. And if you remember when I did the Kadamas, I used these tapered reamers. So I tapered that hole from front to back. So it's a little bigger at the front and a little smaller at the back. And by doing that, now you're creating this straight piece to flare the sides out to whatever you want. So just remember, you can't drill the hole the same size as that little insert, that little metal insert. You drill it just a hair smaller, you ream it, and then you saw the slots in it. And then you put your piece in it. Okay. And if anybody's got questions in the future how I did that, I will probably have, for tips and tricks, I'll actually make one of these so you can see how it's made in the future.
That sounds good.
And to release this, okay, so you got this in the piece and you can't get it out. You got your screw backed out. To release it, you just pound that back and it pulls the wedge back forward. And now it allows it to collapse back on itself to the point where you can get it in there easily. Okay. So that's one way that I solved the problem. The other problem I had is this piece is 1.5 inch round. Well, my smallest jaws either won't open far enough. My pin jaws don't open far enough. And my 50 millimeter jaws don't go small enough. So I had to make a collet to go inside there to grab that, to start the hole, to put the hole in this end. So it started like this. I rounded it a little bit, rounded this piece because it was square. This is a piece of walnut. Then I drilled my hole in here. Okay. So the one I've got on the lathe right now, when I flip the camera, that one's pretty clear. This one is pretty, when you stick the light in it, if you don't drill almost all the way to the end, it doesn't glow very well. So you just have to determine what kind of resin you have to determine how deep the hole is going to go. And all I did to determine that, like on this one, I just drilled a hole through the walnut, stuck the light in there partially, and determined whether I wanted to drill the rest of the way into this to make the walls thinner so it would glow better. So this one is, these are balloon lights, by the way, just in case somebody wants to know. I got them off of Amazon. Just type in balloon lights and you'll get 1,000 hits.
Yeah, Bob Grinstead put a link in for it.
Perfect. Thanks, Bob. So this one is pretty solid. You can't really see it. But if I turn the light off, it glows pretty good with that, just the 29/64 hole in it. And I haven't even shaped it yet, so it'll get a little thinner than what it is right now. So from that point, we'll get to the lathe. Turn my light off. Switch my camera. Any questions so far?
No, nothing yet, Scott.
So now we're on the lathe. This piece is a blue color with clear pieces like this one. It's pretty translucent. So I'm not going to drill this one all the way in because I don't want to see the hole. I'm just going to drill it so that it takes that light. So the tip of that light sits basically through the wood. You might see just a little bit of the drill bit come in, but that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to just put that up there. It's just a standard Jacobs chuck in my tailstock. Al's tip tonight. I'm doing it here so I don't drill too far. I'm going to drill this real slow.
Hey, Scott, real quick, is that a hybrid? Is that a hybrid blank?
No, it is not. I created it.
How did you put the wood at the end?
So it's just like this one. Thanks to Billy Bird, I found some epoxy that doesn't stink. I know we don't advertise. I don't advertise, but I really like this. I hate the smell of epoxy. It actually makes me sick.
Could you hold it lower and closer towards the chuck?
How about under the light?
Yeah, that helps.
So I took a piece of scrap walnut that everybody has in a bucket somewhere, and I epoxied it to the end of a bottle stopper blank. That's all I did.
Okay.
And I used Starbond 5-minute epoxy. It's the only epoxy I found that doesn't smell. I really like it. It seems to be strong. I kind of put it through a test to see how well it was going to stay on there. I tried to get the block off of another piece and I couldn't get it off. It actually broke the acrylic. So it soaked into the wood enough that it didn't even break the wood. It broke the acrylic first. So I'm pretty impressed. So that's how I glued that on there. You can use a hybrid blank if you watch Carl's video. He sells hybrid blanks, but they're too expensive. If you're going to do these for craft show, you're going to want to buy them in handle blank size that you would use for acrylic handles for tools or ice cream scoops, because you can get two pieces out of one blank. I made them so that you can get two pieces out of one blank. So the total overall length is 3 1/8 inches, and that can be plus or minus. That's up to you, however you want to make your light bulb. The outside diameter at the widest point is 1 3/8 inches. And then you just go from there. You just make it look like a light bulb.
Okay.
I mean, go ahead, Dane.
No, I was saying, okay, it's a good explanation on the blank there.
So now I'm going to drill this, and I'm going to drill it real slow. About 200 RPMs, give or take. And you should be able to tell when you break through the wood into the resin, because first of all, it makes a different sound and it feels different as you're cranking it in. And you just want to kiss that resin when you do it this way, and I'll show you why here in a minute. I'm going to turn this off, make sure I got it in to where I can see the resin. You know, it's roughly about 1 inch. Just a little bit more. So I'm just touching the resin. Turn my lights off here for a minute. And see how much better this one glows. I don't need to drill that hole in there because it's opaque enough that it doesn't need to go, or clear enough it doesn't need the whole hole that deep. So you can see that it works pretty well. If you get them too deep, you'll be able to see that hole drilled in there like you do on a pen when you can see the pen tube, and I think that would make it look ugly. You don't want to do that, you know, piece of resin that's not dark enough, I guess. You could put some super glue in there now, sand it with a sanding stick. If you went a little too far, you can take your sanding stick, just give it a little sand, put a drop of super glue in there. It'll hide some of that hole. It'll make it shiny again on the inside. That's another tip. So now got it drilled. Now I'll start turning the end. Any questions? Doesn't sound like it.
So there was one question on the Starbond that you used. Did you add any color into it, or is it just plain clear epoxy?
Just clear epoxy.
Okay, that's what I thought.
I believe
okay, thank you.
Billy can correct me, but I believe you can color that epoxy if you wanted to. I haven't tried it, but I think you can.
Yes, you can. I have.
Thanks for the tip, Billy. I really like it.
My pleasure.
So now I'm just going to turn the light bulb. So I found it about 7/8 here on the end by the hole seems to be a nice look. So I'm just going to turn that down to roughly 7/8. And I'm going to kind of do it by eye. I made a couple of these now. And I kind of got a rough idea how I like them to look. You're just going to make it look like the screw-in part of a light bulb. And I'm going to use Easy Wood tool just because I know I'm going to run up on the resin, and I just like the idea. Cuts the resin better. And I'm just going to taper this down till I get where I think it's about 7/8. Run it up on the resin a little. And it's all by eye. Doesn't have to be perfect because it's not going to screw into any light socket. Nobody's going to pay attention to that part. And it is resin. It's a mess. I know a lot of people don't like resin for that reason. But I don't know how else you would do this without resin. So I'm just turning this down to basically make it look like this one on the end. Let's see, right there.
Can you hold it sideways?
Like that?
Yeah, it helps to see the profile.
Okay. So that's the profile I'm shooting for.
Got an old toothbrush look close to the lathe will help get those resin shavings off of your ends.
Thanks for the reminder. I have it right here. And if you look at a light bulb, it doesn't have a straight taper. It's kind of, I don't know, got like a high spot towards the very bottom. But you can make them look however you like, whatever looks good to you. So now you can see I'm starting to make the shape. I already had this pretty close to 1 3/8 when I rounded it. So now I'm just cleaning that up. That looks pretty good. Now it looks a little square in the bottom. So you can either do this with a spindle gouge, or in this case, I'm going to use an Easy Wood detailer and just round this over just a little bit. Just ever so slightly. Then I'm going to take a little piece of sandpaper. I know that's pretty smooth, and I will sand it again later. I'm going to turn this off. I'm just going to sand this a little bit before I put the beads on it, just because it makes it a little easier. I'm sanding at about 750 RPMs. Just going to round that bottom off. About like so. And we'll put the beads in there, which I'm going to use another Easy Wood tool just because it really works good if I can find it. So this is an 1/8 inch beading tool. Fits on your medium sized hollowers.
Yeah.
And it works slick. So if you have this size tool already, all you got to do is buy the carbide tip. So now I'm going to come in here, get my light the right way. So it's not blinding me. I'm just going to pick a spot. I'm just going to run this in here till it hits the bottom and rounds it out. Then you're going to take the next bead. You're going to put the right hand point in the groove as close as you can. You get it a little off, you can fix it a little bit by rounding the tool over. And you now have your threads. It's as simple as that. Now, you could turn them if you wanted to, but that tool does a pretty fantastic job of cutting. I don't know how well that shows up on camera.
No, it looks good.
There. I'm quite a ways from my laptop, so I can't really see it real well. Now I'm just going to give it a little hand sand just to knock any ridges out of it. It's pretty smooth. And we're good there. Now it's just shaping the light bulb. And you can do that however you wish. Make it whatever shape you want. Use this one, I guess. I'm turning this about 1,500 RPMs. And now I'm just going to start working this down. Kind of put an imaginary mark in my head where I want this to start coming down.
Hey, it's starting to look like a light bulb.
Yeah. That's still light enough for you?
Yeah, it looks good.
I was getting a glare off of it. It was hard to see. Now you're just working it now till you get the shape of a light bulb. Now I'm just gonna cut a little groove, straighten up this back wall to give me a little more room to work. Try not to do that. And it doesn't matter what it did over here because I'm going to take that away anyways. It just was hitting the wall and couldn't get around the corner. And I want to save that piece that's in the truck, so I don't want to waste all that. Want to make something else out of it. Acrylic's too expensive to waste.
You'll have a lot of it on the shop floor to repurpose.
Right. Now I'm going to switch to the number 1 hollower just because it's a smaller cutter and I can get down in there a little farther. You want to get this as far as you can before you flip it around. And you can stop once in a while, check it. Looks like a light bulb.
Yeah, it does.
Looks like it might have came loose a little bit from the epoxy. Actually.
Oh no.
We'll find out. If it does, I have another one. Yep. So it came loose. Well, that's a good opportunity to show you how to fix it. Okay.
I thought I was seeing things, but apparently I wasn't.
So it did come loose a little bit. And that was probably that catch that I got there. The other ones I had didn't do that. So this is a good opportunity to show you how to fix that. So this is the epoxy that I used. It's 2 equal parts. And it doesn't take very much. It goes a long ways.
Yeah, you always wind up mixing more than you need.
Yeah, always.
So I'm using about a pea-sized drop. Pea-sized portion.
Does the flat part of that acrylic you're going to be gluing to have some tooth to it?
Yes. It's been sanded with 100. It's pretty rough. Feels kind of smooth now because I think it polished itself a little bit. But I got a piece of 100 here we can fix that with.
If not the 100, then the pocket knife.
I'm just
Yep.
going to scratch this up with some 100. And give this a little scratch. I'll mix up my epoxy. My glasses are fogging up. I'm just going to mix this up. This epoxy, when you order it, comes with these nice little trays and they clean up great.
What brand of epoxy is it?
Starbond?
Starbond. Billy, can you put a link for the Starbond epoxy that's used?
Sure thing.
So now we want to get that centered back up on that hole, right? So I'm just going to take my drill bit that I used to drill that. Stick it in that hole. Line it up with the kiss mark that's on the rest of it. Hold it as best I can. Get my stuff out of the way. And just put a little pressure on it for a few minutes. Because I'm going to flip it around here in a minute. And actually what I might do is do one of these other ones and flip it around for you. So that I can show you how to turn it on this, finish it off. Nothing like a demo. I've made 4 of these now, and it's the first one I've had come apart.
Well, it's a great way to show how to conquer it when something happens. So,
yep. And we all know that acetone cleans up the epoxy, right?
Yes.
Before it dries. So this spatula that they give you, the epoxy doesn't stick to it, but I still clean it off since I got the acetone out to clean my fingers. And then I just wipe the tray out too right away. And any residue that's left in there, you can peel out after it dries. It doesn't stick to these cups either. The acetone.
When you get done cleaning there, Scott, can you slightly raise your camera up? We've
Sure.
got the chuck and the turning at the very top of the screen right now.
Not a problem. How's that?
Perfect.
Better?
Yes.
So that I probably, it says it cures in 10 minutes to the point where you can work with it, but I don't want to take a chance of it exploding because I kind of really like that light. Looks nice.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, if I mix colorant in it, I give it an extra 10 minutes. So I let it go 20 and I've never had a problem.
Right. Well, I don't want you guys to sit here for 20 minutes and wait since I have other pieces.
But that's only if I add colorant to it.
So I'm just going to slip this out of here carefully. Set it aside. And let's see. Man, you can think a piece is clean and you still get epoxy all over your hands.
Yeah.
Great chance to show you a design opportunity. So we'll do this one that's already round and has the hole all the way through it. I'm just going to lightly put pressure on that just to hold it. Bring up my tailstock. Make sure I got it in just far enough to catch it under the jaws just a little bit. Wow, got that pretty centered.
Sun must have set in the west.
Must have. So we'll begin again.
No, it's all good.
Good thing I had an extra one set up, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, it's a great thing.
That Rachel Ray effect.
Demo 101.
Yeah, amen.
So
yes, always.
At least with a lot of us.
And I am using a negative rake cutter too, by the way.
This is also good, having a demo like this where carbide is being used. We have very few folks using carbide during the demonstration, and I know there's a lot of people out there that are using carbide. So this is good.
Resin cuts different. Right. That other resin was polyacrylic. And it doesn't cut as nice. It's not as forgiving. It's chippy. Their own your acrylic, stay with your resins.
Yes.
They're a lot nice, much easier to work. You can see how much nicer streamers I'm getting. Not as chippy, messier.
Yes, the Lumilite turns better than.
Used Royal Palm. Unfortunately, nobody kept up with and the distribution of that stuff. I was in the same boat Illuminite was. And then I tried God resin.
But you can see how quick that was, how I went from basically nothing to something in just a short period of time. I'm just going to come back and clean this up a little bit. This cuts so much nicer. I like this a lot better.
Scott, did you give yourself enough room for that bulb?
Oh yeah. I'll show you a little trick when I get to the other way. That's why I made the expanding chuck. Because these blanks are just a hair short for this.
Gotcha.
So, but you can see even with this detail tool how much nicer it cuts. Yeah, it's a little chippy, but it's mainly the guy using it. And I'm also not using a negative rake here. That makes a difference too. Negative rakes would be definitely better. But I don't have one for that tool right at the moment. Now I'm going to go back to my number one hollower. And just clean that up a little bit. Now, before I go too nuts, I gotta find my little story stick that's for this piece of resin. Because this one's got the hole drilled all the way to just about to the end. So there's my marks. And that's where the end of the hole is. So I'm still good there where I won't cut into the hole. So make yourself a story stick when you drill the hole all the way in there. So that you can don't part it off and end up with a hole in the bottom. So now I'm just going to give this a light sand and I'll put my beads on there. Actually, I might taper that down just a little more. That looks pretty good.
It does. But you're going to put your threads in?
Yep, but I'm going to give it a little sand beforehand. I don't want to sand the tops of the threads off. I want this to be as smooth. So I'm sanding with 320 here. Because if you look at a manufactured light bulb, they're not shiny smooth. I mean, they're a stamped piece of aluminum or brass or whatever they use for their light bulbs, depending on the manufacturer. And it's nice to give this just a little touch up because you're going to stay away from this end now when you turn it over. Now I'll put my rings in there. Down just a little bit, give it just a little sand. I know I didn't do that the last time, but so there, you're basically got that end done. So now I'm going to flip this over, change trucks and flip this over. So if anybody's got questions or wants to ask something, now's the time to do it. Whoops. Good thing I got a catch can down here. So I put boxes underneath my lathe to catch all the stuff that comes off my lathe. It's a little wider. It's actually a small tote, and it catches all my sawdust, and then I don't have to sweep it off the floor. Another tip for you. Now we'll switch jaws. Turn that off. Guess I got to put it on the light bulb first. Screwdriver. So all I did now is slipped it in there. And I'm going to
That
tighten
might
this
help.
up. Yep. I'm going to tighten this up. You don't have to go nuts, just so you feel good tension on there. The other key thing is to make that bottom flat too. That helps you keep it somewhat centered.
Oh no. Did Scott lose his connection?
It looks like we lost him.
There we go.
Yay.
He's muted. Must be rummaging for something.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
My computer got unplugged and ran out of battery.
Oh,
Somehow it got unplugged. Must have slid the chair and it came unplugged.
you must have an elf in there.
Yep, something. So I got a little pinhole in the backside here that I used when I started this whole thing because roughed it between centers, so I had a center mark on this backside. Now, if I can find my story stick, got my story stick here. Line it up right there. I'm going to take a white pencil, just so I know where the bottom of the hole is, which is right there. But just a little pressure on there. Don't have to go crazy here. Now I'm going to take real light cuts. I don't want this to break off again. Just to get that down to that white mark. Or close to it. The other thing is you notice it likes to slip on that chuck a little bit. So you can't get crazy here.
It's a good time to practice cutting as slow as you can.
Yep. The other thing that makes it bad, this blank has garland in it. And I don't know if it's artificial garland or if it's actual metal garland, but it dulls the tools. And it seems like it catches. Sometimes they don't cut off as good as other times. And this is the problem I had with the way Carl did it. As soon as it started to slip a little, or you put too much pressure on it, it would heat up that hot glue, and then it wanted to come loose.
starting to come along.
Yep. Now I'm going to stop and check it again with my story stick just to make sure that I got it far enough. Just a little more.
Good morning, Carl.
Putting people to sleep, am I?
Oh no, he was napping early, way earlier. He's catching the good stuff now, though.
So you can see I got this a little skinny on the end, but it's up to you. You can make it a design opportunity. It can be a different shaped light bulb, that's all.
One of them newfangled LED ones.
Yeah. Well, it could be like what were them other ones used to come on that had the bubbling water in them? Can't remember what they were
Lava
called.
lamp.
Lava lamps, that's it. Lava light bulbs. But you can kind of see where it's hollow and where it's solid, approximately, because you can see how the light's coming through it. Can you see that? So it's got to be hollow right there and more solid down here.
Yep.
So you just change the profile of the light bulb a little bit. Maybe you make it a little skinnier.
Yeah, that's definitely one you don't want to funnel.
No, because you wouldn't be able to fix it. And it doesn't have to be a perfect light bulb. It's your interpretation of a light bulb, right?
True.
Exactly.
Well, it's not the best looking light bulb in the world, but it's not the worst either. I'm just going to rough that up a little bit. Take my other tool, clean it up. Change the shape of the light bulb just a little bit.
What I'm set up to do on my next set of projects is to do old-fashioned light bulbs.
It's kind of an interesting shape. Maybe I can take it down here a little bit. Maybe that'll help. It's different. So I'm not brave. That's not too bad a shape. Soften it up a little bit when I sand it here a little. You can see I'm pretty thin right there.
Looks like a flame light bulb shape.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of what I was thinking. Might look neat. They do make those balloon lights that flicker. They make a flickering version I've seen online. So this shape might be kind of neat for a flickering light bulb. Might be different. The other thing is I probably could have got away with not drilling the hole quite as deep, and this blank would have helped. You know, probably wouldn't have needed to be that deep. As you can see in this other one, if I hold it up here, it's actually a little shorter. So I probably over drilled the hole just a little bit. Gonna sand this with some 320 and then I'll sand it up later. because everybody doesn't want to watch me sand all the way to the end. Polish it, I should say, all the way to the end.
Polish it.
Another great tool that I have that I bought at an estate sale, I bought an old-fashioned paper cutter to cut my sandpaper. It works great.
I use mine for cutting veneer.
It works good for that too. I just want to get this kind of sanded to 320, and then I'll polish it off camera. But I'll show you how to cut the end off, and then I'm show you how I did the end. So I have an old back saw. Actually, I think it's really made for doing dovetail joints. That's what I use to cut it off.
1-2 cross cut.
Yep. And I'm just going to cut this off. Very carefully so I don't break it. Come on. So I got it that far. Now I'm just gonna very carefully get my tailstock out of the way. Take my number 1 hollower. Hold my fingers on the backside. Don't watch this. I'm doing this one-handed. I got this tucked in my armpit like this. And I'm kind of squatting down because I want to kind of hold a little pressure on this. And I'm just going to break that corner ever so slightly. And try not to break that off. And I'll come back with some 220 if I can find it. Move my tool rest out of the way. Way out of the way. I'm just going to hold this now. And just clean that up on the end. Round it off however you want. Blown light bulbs aren't perfect on the end. If you got old-fashioned ones. Now, to finish polishing that, it's obviously a little wobbly for doing that, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to steal a Dane trick. I'm going to take my tailstock and change my center. You have a one-way style live center. This works real good. I take the pin out of the middle. Put a piece of paper towel up here. Put that back in there. Put just a little bit of pressure on there. Tear off the extra sandpaper. And now I can sure everything's tight, little pressure, lock that down. Now I can finish doing my polishing. And that last little bit you can polish by hand by holding it with your other hand, support back here. And I'll just
Good trick.
I wonder who I learned that, where I learned that.
Yeah.
Who
I know.
needs a rubber, Chucky?
That's
Right.
right. But if you turn the light bulb just right, what I did when I did the first one, I actually used that tip to determine what the end of my light bulb was going to look like.
What are you polishing with?
I'm using micro mesh and water.
Oh, okay.
So I just bought some new micro mesh and I learned something. If you only have to go to 320 and then you start with your micro mesh because the first pad of micro mesh is equal to 400. So there's no sense in wasting your time going to 400 when you're going to start out at 400, right?
Right.
And I'll just take that up. I'll just do it quick through the grits. I may have to do it more than once. I don't know how good I had it. The other thing is you could seal this wood before you start if you wanted to. Put some sanding sealer on it or something. I usually leave these sit overnight and then I just come back and they dry out and I just clean them up then. So that, and I let my micro mesh pad soak in water overnight so that they get nice and moist. Then you don't have to worry about them burning. They don't burn on the pad. They run a little cleaner. Get a clean piece of paper towel. You should wipe it off between grits, theoretically.
Yes.
Because otherwise you're just sanding the grit back in. The other thing I do with my micro mesh pads is once in a great while I take them in the house and wash them with soap and water to get any residue out of them. They seem to last a little longer that way. And they've gotten quite pricey. So I buy the big pads and I cut them on that same paper cutter that Billy and I were just talking about into 1-inch strips, and you can get 3 of them out of one big pad. So it makes that $30 purchase go a little farther.
Sure does.
I put my micro mesh pads in a nylon mesh bag and throw them in with my shop clothes. In the washer.
My wife would kill me.
I put mine in the sock.
This is going to be kind of a pretty blank, I think, once it gets polished.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, it is.
It's looking good already. As a tip, whenever I'm polishing, water polishing acrylic, I'll put one of my silicone mats down over the lathe bed.
Oh.
And as I'm polishing, I have a spray bottle. And so I'm constantly spraying the piece. That way the conduct that's being generated from sanding is constantly washed off.
Remember the old Sham Wow commercials?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that orange thing is.
Yep. Okay.
Yep. That's normally what
I have an old vinyl tablecloth I just lay across my waist.
I kind of like this shape now that it's polished. It does look like an old flame light.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, the old fashioned lights.
Yep. Whoops.
Folks that are thinking about dropping off, you don't want to drop off because I do have an announcement to make after the demo that's pertinent to the group here. So
I'm just about done here. There's one more grit to go.
Oh, there's no rush.
And then I'll wipe it off and we'll see how it looks. I'll actually take it off and we'll put a light bulb in it and see how it turned out. Because I'm curious myself. Wow. That shined
that
up
looks
pretty
great.
nice.
Yeah, garland looks good in there.
So the
Hey,
last
Scott.
step I do, I
Scott,
use
can
a,
you explain, Scott, real quick, can you explain what garland is? I tried to explain what it was earlier, but probably wasn't
garland's
great.
what, well, us old folks will know what garland is. It's what you used
Right,
to
it's
throw on
just
Christmas trees. It was a
it's like
stringy,
cordage. You wrap it
You
yeah,
around.
guys are talking. You guys are talking about tinsel.
tinsel,
No, it's
sorry.
not. No, it's not
Garland
tinsel.
is
Garland
is a
tinsel.
strand.
Yep,
It's
garland
a
tinsel is what
it's
it
on a
is.
rope. It's on a string, and you wrap the tree. Tinsel
Yes.
you throw on it.
Yep.
Yes.
It's and the stuff that this was made out of was actually garland tinsel. I watched the guy make this on YouTube, Resin Works. So he took strings of tinsel that was strung together, in a string form.
That's garland.
Yeah, a garland, but it was actually tinsel. It was the tinsel that was made into a garland for like
To a
putting on
garland
wreaths
string.
and
Okay.
yep,
Right.
yep.
Yeah.
And he threw it in the resin that way so that he could dunk it in there and control the volume. You understand what I'm saying? He put it in his
Yes.
1-inch tube and he had
Yep.
it on
So you guys-
hanging on a string so it wouldn't float to the top or the bottom.
So this stuff is thicker than just like thin strands, right? It's like
Correct.
an inch
Yes.
or two thick. Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
it's-
Right.
All right.
Yep.
I under.
Yeah, it's like
Thank you.
It's like an inch and a half in diameter, but it's real.
Right.
Like I said, it's a whole bunch of fuzzies on the cordage.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
It's the same material.
It's old
Matt,
school. It is really old.
Yep. It's the same material that what you threw on the trees, except it's wrapped around a cord. It's embedded in a cord.
Yeah,
This that I'm holding up is. this
You ought to
is
quit
garland.
saying that it's old stuff. I know what you're talking about with no problem. you just got to cut that out.
Well, hey, I'm younger than all of y'all, but I know it because my parents were born in 27, so that's
Guys,
why
they
I know all
still
this old
sell
school
it. They
stuff.
still sell it. They still sell this stuff. So it's.
Yep.
I'm on Amazon looking at it. So. It's
So
like,
so there it is, and that's cool. I like that. That's pretty cool. Well, now we'll see if we can get it off of there without breaking it.
don't forget to do the end yet, Scott.
Oh, I'll put it back. I can put it back on. That's the nice part about this chuck,
Okay.
is that it can be put back on and it'll still stay centered. Because I can put it in this cone. Now, where did I put the chuck key? That might help.
Oh,
I said it. Oh, there it is.
I
That's when my
believe I have magnets on the side of my lathe to hold the chuck key right where I need it.
I have one on a magnet, and this one usually goes in the tool holder. But when the computer went down, I had it in my hand, and guess where it got set? Next to the computer.
Gotcha.
So now I'll just take this off of here. Unscrew the bolt. And because this shoulder's square and the bottom is square, it's going to go on there pretty much square no matter where I put it. Now you're just going to tap this back, release that pressure. Slips off of there pretty slick, don't it?
sure does.
Yep.
We'll find our light. We'll turn off some lights. There you go.
Wow.
Hold it down a little bit. Hold
Bring
it
it
down by
down.
your chin. Yeah,
Cool.
it looks good.
That is.
Nice, Scott.
Shut the
Very
other light
nice.
off on
Thank
your left
you.
side. Shut the light off on your left side.
There you go.
Wow.
That
That's
was
fun.
good.
Very nice.
Awesome. That looks great.
Yeah, because I came through there pretty nice.
Yep.
That's
So if you
cool.
want it, so where this cloudiness is in the bottom, you can see how it's kind of got a cloudy light tube in it. To get
Mhm.
rid of that, just put some CA glue in there and it'll disappear.
Wow.
Huh.
Okay.
That cloudiness is from the drill bit, not making
Yeah.
a smooth polished hole.
Right.
So if you want to, I'll turn the lights back on here. Just give me a minute.
I do.
So if you want to, you take a wooden dowel like this and some of that Plastex or Colgate toothpaste, put it in the bottom of the hole, and then you can polish the bottom of the hole with the toothpaste, because original Colgate toothpaste is coarse enough grit to polish the inside of that. And you'll lose that cloudiness without having to swirl some CA glue in there. But you can actually see, if I get the light just right, and hold it just right, you can actually see that piece of sandpaper turning in there.
Yes.
Right.
And you can polish that. You could go through all the grits and polish that. I have sanding sticks like this with different grits glued to them. It's just a dowel. And I just stick it in there, sit in front of the TV and work it back and forth and polish it.
Do you have a pile of sanding dust on the side of your recliner?
Yep. Actually, I do it on my pants and my wife gets mad.
Right. No, I know. I get it. We've all been there.
So then you just polish that inside, and you could take some Plastex, glue a little piece of felt on the bottom here, or you could stuff some paper towel in the bottom, squirt your Plastex in there, put the paper towel in the bottom, and just use your stick as an agitator. And then you can rinse the Plastex, any residue from the Plastex out, you can rinse out with Windex or water or whatever you want to rinse it out with. So that's how I would finish the inside. If I wanted to polish the inside, I'm going to cheat. I'm going to dump a little bit of CA glue in the bottom.
Yeah, I think we all agree CA would be faster and quicker. Same result.
Right. Yep. And the drill bit that you use to drill your resin, only drill wood with it and resin with it. Don't ever take it to a piece of metal, because it'll wreck the inside of your holes. You'll be sanding forever. And then to put your light in, I guess I should explain that. At the end, to put your light in, I use gel CA glue, and I'll glue that in there. Right now you can see it falls in there. So I'll just use some thick CA, thicker, or the gel. And this one I'll probably use gel because it's a little bit bigger. It's wobbled itself out on the very end. And actually it was from me sanding, because I was sanding in this one earlier. So you don't want to sand this upper wood section when you go to stick this light in here. And these lights do unscrew. And there's three little, I'm not going to take them out because they'll fall out, but there's three little watch batteries in there, flat batteries. And the other thing I'm going to do from now on, see if I can find them, because I don't know where I did with my little white piece of paper. So when I make these for craft shows, I'm only going to glue them into where this little tab is. Because that little tab, if somebody walks by at the craft show and screws it in, it doesn't light up. I'll just have one that's already lit up that I'll keep for myself as a demo piece to show them how it lights up, that you got to pull that tab out. It'll save the batteries.
Cool.
Oh, good idea.
And if the customer really wants to see it lit up, you can unscrew this, pull this out carefully, screw it in, light it up, save this little tab in your fingers, tip the ornament upside down, get it started, shake it or tap it a little bit. And you can get it back in there between the batteries with a little jiggling. Now it's going to make a liar out of me. I've done it on every other one. There it goes. and you can stick it back in there. If the customer really wants to see it lit up, you can do that. It's just a way for you to save on putting batteries in. If you don't sell them all this way, you don't have to worry about them coming on in the box getting jiggled around. Because if they turn off, you don't back it out far enough. You just back it out till the light goes off. You can bump them and they'll flicker. You can see how that one flickers.
Mm-hmm.
Put a little pressure on the cap and then it flickers. So then you'd run out of light bulb. The minute you wanted to use it, then it'd be dead, you know. So that's my demo for the night. Hope you enjoyed it.
Thanks, Scott.
That was a great demo.
Very good,
Anybody
Scott.
have
Great
any,
demo, Scott.
does
Thank you.
anybody have any questions?
Well done.
Very enjoyable.
Thanks, Scott.
Yep.
Yeah, thank
So
you,
if anybody
Scott.
has any questions on the actual project that he did, or the epoxy of how he joined the wood to the resin blank, or on his neat little collet check to reverse compression, now's the time to ask. Otherwise, we will move on with the program.
Show us again the collet chuck.
Which one?
The big ring.
This one?
The reverse
that.
expanding.
Yes, that one.
Well, yeah, do that one. Show that one.
So all I did was put a piece in my truck, in that same truck that we were just working on. Or actually, it's over here now. So I just put a piece in here that was already round that I turned between centers that would fit in here. Which this one happens, it started out as 2 1/8, because that's the perfect diameter when that's open to the correct size. So you just put that in there. Like this. I turned it to 2 1/8. I parted it off or made it as long as I wanted. It started out as a big long piece. And I parted it off, got it to the length I wanted here, which happens to sit right against the back of my jaws. Then I clamped it down in here and I drilled it with whatever sized round shaft you need. So whatever size you need, 1 inch, 2 inch, 1.5 inches, anything that's smaller than these jaws closed, you drill that Forstner bit hole in there and try not to hit your chuck. You know, right. You can drill it. You could put a piece of cardboard back there or something just so you don't hit your chuck and wreck your Forstner bit, you know. Mm-hmm. So then after you take it after you get your hole drilled all the way through it, so it's like this now, and you can see it's a little oval, and that's because I took it over to the bandsaw and just cut a bandsaw width out of it. I held it in a pair of screw clamps so that I wouldn't cut my fingers, and ran it through my bandsaw and just cut one side, turned it around and cut the other side.
Okay.
And now you have a collet that will fit, you know, anything from like this one will fit 1.5 inches all the way down to basically 1 inch, or however tight I can squeeze it.
Gotcha. Thank you.
So this one is compression, and this one's expansion. They both do the same thing, and they're both the same type of idea, except one's compression and one's expansion. So this one expands out to grab, where that one crushes in to grab. Hopefully I didn't make that too complicated. That's the engineer coming out in me.
No, it's great. Makes a lot of sense.
Thanks, Scott.
An easy way to make not really an expansion chuck, but an internal chuck like your expansion chuck would be to make a pin chuck.
Right. So, but you got to have, you know, how do you make a pin chuck that's that small? That's only 7/16, roughly.
Right.
That's a pretty small set of pin jaws. Where an expansion, this is endless. So I could only made this so that it's only a 1/2 inch long. Or this one happens to be an inch long because that's what my piece of wood is.
Right.
You could make them any length you wanted to grab something, anything small. This will get used. This is going to get used a ton. And actually, I'm going to make different sizes. I thought about making some even bigger, where you could grab bigger holes, because you always put your hole in first, right? Anytime you're turning something, you always put the hole in first. Well, when you want to go turn it around and it's tapered, how do you hold it? You got to have a tool like this to hold it.
Right. Well, back when I was making a lot of closed-end pins, where you weren't using the end caps,
right?
I would turn a closed-end pin. How are you going to hold that? So I made pin chucks. I've got like 4 different sizes.
Yep. So it's endless what you can do with just a little bit of thought process.
Yep.
So
yeah, sure, it's got a lot of people thinking right now. All right. Well, if anybody else has any questions or comments, guess we'll go with that. Scott,
great job, Scott.
Put on tonight.
Scott.
Great job.
Great
really
demo.
appreciate it. And for everybody else, that's wanting to demonstrate, you can do the same thing. All right, so let me clear that off. Time is getting close to when I have to go in and take care of my diabetic cat here. So there's been a lot of discussion about what we're going to do for Christmas and New Year's Day, because both days fall on a Wednesday. So unfortunately, this will be the first time that we have not held a weekly meeting in 5.5 years since we started this group. So on Christmas Day and New Year's Day, we will be taking it off, and we will see everybody back, after the holiday break on January 8th, in which I have a wonderful international wood turner, world renowned over on that side of the pond, that is going to be demonstrating for us, and he is not from England. So definitely want to come back, start the new year off, want to do something with a bang. So got things set up for that. Looks like we've got our demonstration set up for next week. So we're good to go on that. And so with that, Matt, do we have any more demonstrations? Or sorry, gallery items? I think I saw a couple come in.
Yep, we do have Randy Smith, and he said he has something to show us.
I think there was a gentleman earlier. It was right at demonstration time that came in, or has he disappeared?
Well, let's see what Randy has to say, and I'll go look.
Okay.
This is actually part of a follow-on from Scott, because one of the things I do is make pens, and I am making about 12 of these to give out as Christmas presents. This is my prototype. And one of the things about pens is that they are almost infinitely adjustable, modifiable. You can make a pen that doesn't look like it should look. And so this is a standard slimline pen that I've kind of retooled a little bit to make it look like one of those European pens, made to resemble that company we may not mention the name of. And so I've been working on about a bunch of those, but for Scott, I also do metalworking. And so this is my closed end pen mandrel. This one is for a 7 millimeter tube. And the way it works is this is tight now, but on the base here, there's a small nut. Turn this loose, push, and it comes right off.
Cool.
And you can buy these, but I have a metal lathe and a mini mill, so I make these. I don't know if you can read this. This is for an El Grande style pen, and it will fit most of that family. This is for a barren pen, and it will fit most of the barren pens.
That's
And
really
so,
cool, Randy.
and so I made those. This is the first one I made, actually. Not too good. It was an experiment, and I used my bandsaw to cut the end. It's a four. It's cut into 4 segments. I discovered that wasn't really necessary. You only need 2, and so the ones I made are made with a slitting saw, and the saw makes a much better cut, much more accurate, and a lot of ease. And you can use a transfer punch. They come in sets, 1/64 of an inch increments, and you can make your own pin thing. And you have to be careful not to lose the pin like I did. I have more downstairs. I make them about a dozen at a time. And so
Yeah, I'm always losing pins.
the pin is what you lose. It's
Yep.
gone. And so it's just simply a round bar of metal with a flat in it. And the pin, when the brass tube is turned, it jams that pin against the brass tube and makes it and fastens it to the mandrel. And it's easy to get off. All you have to do is just the other way and pull it off and drop the pin into your sawdust.
Yep. And you can make the pins out of different size nails or different diameter nails. They work great.
Oh yes, yeah. But a transfer punch set is much easier. You can buy one for $10 or $20.
Yeah, they're cheap.
I have several sets. So that's what I have to share for the night. Oh, one more thing.
Yes.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry
And I want you to know
Merry Christmas.
that this hat, I am 76. This hat was the hat my father used to pass out our Christmas presents when I was 6 years old.
Wow.
Wow. Wow.
And so this has definite sentimental value.
Hey, Randy. Merry
So-
Christmas, man.
Merry Christmas
Merry
to
Christmas.
everybody, and a Happy New Year.
You too.
Happy New Year, really.
You too.
too.
Okay, great.
I'm out of uniform tonight.
Yes, you are. Thanks, Randy. All right, Scott, what do you got to show us?
I've got 2 things. Tomorrow is our December meeting, and we're doing a hollow form demo. So I played a little bit, and I got a volcano bowl. And it's Dan Tilden showed us how to do these in Portland back in about 2018. So that's one of the things that I did. The other is something I saw on a Cindy Drozda demo, and I've got it now. Last meeting, you guys said, have you got anything that people could have a look at and critique? And I know that my base is way too small, but that's the 2 things that I've got to show. So
That is beautiful.
Beautiful.
That is just beautiful. My God.
Well, thank
Wow.
you.
Very nice.
Can you
when I
show
get
the
some-
bottom? Show the bottom.
There's nothing wrong with the bottom of that.
So is that
could
maple?
it could be a little bit bigger so that it's not at all tipsy. That's all.
Is it maple?
This is ash.
The pedestal.
Oh, yes, it's spalted maple. And I made, that's why the base is a little small, because I made the finial and the base out of the same material. So
You know what? That's
Nice.
beautiful.
I think it's pretty.
thank you. Thank you.
All right.
I this one, it's a Dan Tilden design, and I want to do a couple more. I really like it, so I want to try it with so I can get a little more bark on the edge and that. But for
Right.
the first time, I thought it was pretty nice. So
Mhm.
It is.
Very good job. Very good.
My God, sure.
Beautiful.
Nice work.
thank you, appreciate that.
All right. Well, Dane, that's all I've got on my list. So I'm going to go back to you. Oh, wait a minute. I got a John Weber here who's got some stuff. Hang on.
Dane's not back yet.
Well, John, you got to turn your video on. I can't go to you. There we go. What you got, John?
All right. Let me go over here. I have a little ornament, a little birdhouse ornament.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's
And
really
a tiny
cute.
bird. And then I have a couple other small things. I don't know if you can see that okay.
Why?
I got,
Oh, wow.
some Santa Claus, snowman, some mushrooms, a gong, couple gonks. This is a little candle.
Itty.
Couple earrings and some a bell. Just a little tiny thing. Kind of fun to do.
I like that small
Yeah.
bell.
Yeah, great fun.
Yes.
It is real fun. So that's what I got. That's some really nice detail. Nice detail. Thank you.
Tiny.
Nice smells. Really nice smells, John.
Wow.
Thank you.
Impressive.
All right. Well, oh, what's that? Is that you? Is that you, Brenda? Who's doing that?
Nope, it's not me.
I think
I'm
it's still
sorry, I
John.
didn't mean to send that to everybody. But just real quick, that's something I made for my wife. She's out of the room at the moment, but she's not supposed to know about it till Christmas time.
Oh, nice.
It's
That's great.
a
Earring stand.
two-tiered
Very nice.
earring holder.
That's
And,
very pretty.
The
That
bottom
is
of it comes off, and there's a box on the bottom.
Ooh.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice.
Wow.
Awesome.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
I love that. What kind of wood is that?
That's walnut.
Really?
Yeah.
That detail on that top is just gorgeous. No, the whole thing is just gorgeous.
Thank you.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
I just got that one-way attachment so that you can drill those holes straight through. And so that was my inspiration to do this. Is I got a tool that would allow me to make those holes.
Very
Cool.
good.
That's
Okay,
really pretty.
Thank you very much.
That's a great idea.
Very nice, Scott.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
it is.
I'll stop sharing now, so y'all can have your meeting back.
The expensive,
No, that's nice. That's beautiful.
Scott, make sure you send a picture of that in to be put in the newsletter
I sure
after
will.
Christmas.
Yeah, right. I sure will.
It's gorgeous.
Thank you.
All right, so Jim has a question in chat. I don't know if y'all have seen it, but he's asking about cutting steel with a bandsaw. So we'd like to hear more about that.
Jim?
Yeah.
The as far as the metal, they do make specialized metal bandsaws. You can some bandsaws actually are 2-speed. I don't know if they're being currently sold or not, but some of the older Craftsman bandsaws had a clutch in them, and you could use them either on wood or metal. Don't you try to use a metal bandsaw on wood or vice versa. The only exception to that is aluminum. If you have a fine bandsaw blade, you can cut aluminum, but don't try to cut steel with a wooden bandsaw. It does not work.
My Rikon has a 2-speed. I never thought of using it, but probably the other thing, a lot of things. What about the dust collector?
Yeah, you have to worry about dust collection. You have to worry about sparks.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Other
I
than
know
that,
that I have a fine tooth blade on my saw, and I've cut aluminum with it, so I know that works pretty good.
yes, yeah, it does. But steel is, and aluminum will not spark.
Right.
So
Right.
I've also
it's an
cut
easier way to do it.
copper with that. I've
For
also
for
cut copper
steel,
with that.
doesn't it have to be a bimetal blade, Randy?
Those are the best ones, yes.
Do you have to put oil on it or something?
Yes, you should. I normally just drip a couple of drops of oil when I'm cutting steel.
But you
And
have
at
a
the moment,
saw, right? You have a separate saw for that.
oh yes, absolutely.
Okay.
You can get a metal cutting saw from Harbor Freight for I think it's about $250.
Okay.
So, and it will do anything you want it to do as far as metal. It will cut steel, even unannealed hard steels.
Well, I shudder when I hear that stuff because, first off, anytime you use metal and then you go over and start using wood, go in the house, wash your hands 3 times because
Yeah.
2 months later you'll pick up a piece and see your fingerprints in it. It's a great feeling. That had it done many times. But that just rang a bell. I wondered if I could use a low speed on my Raycon. But
If it's a low speed is about 200 feet per minute. Anywhere from 200 to 300 feet per minute is for metal. Most metal saws won't go higher than that.
I almost think I'm on low speed anyway. I tried high speed once, and my God, that was flying. That didn't. Bad enough when the blade breaks. My God, you jump straight up in the air. Usually, it only happens when my wife's using the saw, so it's not too bad. But sometimes.
What are you saying? You set Rita up?
Yeah, it's amazing. I can use it all day. She picks it up. She starts using it for 2 minutes, and the blade breaks, and wham! Me, God, you have to go in and change clothes. But
yeah. So I'm going.
Okay.
So I'm back.
Hey,
So I'm going through the chat with some of the questions. What was it? What was it you showed? Al, I'm talking, please. Randy, what was it you were showing with cutting off the bandsaw?
I'm sorry. These were little closed-end pen mandrels.
Okay.
And I have several of them. You can also make pen mandrels out of transfer punches, pin mandrels. A pin mandrel is just a rod. You need some kind of collet to hold it, and it has a flat.
Okay.
With
Did you grind that on
it, and you will always lose that pin. So if you make one of these, make about 6 extra pins and put them somewhere it's safe. And when you put a brass tube, and you really need metal against this, when it twists, the pin inside it will jam against the tube and make it turn. And so that's how it actually works. You'll get a little bit of eccentricity, but not a lot, depending upon how closely the brass tube and the rod match. And I've made a bunch of these. This is a mandrel, a closed-end mandrel for. I'll try to hold it here. You just unscrew it, push it in, and it comes loose. And this one I cut with a slitting saw.
Bring it closer to yourself, Randy.
Okay.
There you go.
And that's cut with a slitting saw, and it has a 3mm screw that goes to the end. The screw actually clamps from this end, and so you screw it in from this end. So you just twist it, and now it will clamp, and this blank won't go, this tube won't go on it. So you just unclip it, and it doesn't even take a tool. You just.
So
It won't come off now.
That's a 3 millimeter screw,
Yes.
4 inches long or something.
Yeah, I had a tough time finding one that big, that
I
long,
bet.
because they don't normally make them that long. And then I had to take the end of the screw and actually mill it down so it would fit within that 7 millimeters.
Gotcha.
So
This rings a bell. Instead of cutting with a bandsaw, I wanted a flat sander, and I cut an 1/8 inch drill bit right down the middle with one of those black discs, as abrasive discs, in a Dremel tool.
Yeah,
It cut right through the high-speed steel drill bit, and it made a great flat sander.
yes.
Good
Right.
idea, Jim.
Okay, great. Thanks, guys. Next up, Howard King has got some stuff to show. What you got, Howard?
Hey, how y'all doing? Scott,
Good,
great
good,
demo. That was a great demo. I really liked that, especially the idea with the little light in there. That was fantastic. But anyway, I got a little urn here out of the ambrosia maple.
Nice.
Beautiful.
Very nice.
That's got some great color. What'd you finish it with, Howard?
Oil,
Hey,
2 or 3
Howard.
coats of oil, and then wax.
Hey, Howard.
Okay.
Yes.
What do you use to hollow that out with?
I had a Trent Bosch, what do they call it? Equalizer? No. Well, anyway, Trent Bosch hollowing outfit.
Eccentric.
That's that's just beautiful. That's just beautiful.
Well, thank you.
All right. Well, thanks very much, Howard.
All right.
All right, Dane, back to you.
Oh, back to me. I'm in the middle of responding to a message, so just give me one moment.
All right.
Okay, message gone. Well, what a meeting we had tonight. A lot of good gallery. Really good demonstration. Multiple items that were shown during the demonstration to be able to tackle making the little light bulb project. And on top of that, it was good to see somebody demonstrating the use of carbide tools. It's been a while since we've had a full-on demo using carbide, and I know I get a request for it every now and then with folks asking if carbide could be demonstrated. So that was really good, and I know there's a lot of people that are really into carbide within the group already. So if you are an affluent carbide user, let me know, and we'll get you set up for a demonstration. You can do any type of project. It could be a 10-minute, 15-minute. It could be a full-on project, for 2 hours if you want. Just let me know. Let's see, recap. What else is going on within the group? There's this thing called Level Up. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of it, but it's going to be an event that we're planning for Wisconsin Rapids, Wisconsin in September of 2026. It's going to be a 4-day event, 3 days of intensive training and turning on projects and being able to sit and watch if you feel like just sitting and watching. It's going to be an event that all the others will soon begin emulating, in which we can pat ourselves on the back because it's going to be flattery. Imitation is the best form of that. So we're looking forward to that. We just had our second meeting with the planning committee last night. Things are really, really rolling within the project. We expect to have everything set and available for everybody to look at, sign up come first quarter of next year. So sometime between April May and June, there's going to be registration and being able to sign up and seeing who's going to be uh, the coaches that are going to be leading the various events within the pods. And it's going to be a hell of an event. Hope to see a lot of people there. Besides that, let's see.
Dave,
Yeah.
can you repeat the exact dates again?
September 17th through the 20th of September of 2026.
All right. September 17th, 26. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Right on. And then, as I said earlier, December 25th and January 1st will be the first time that worldwide woodturners have had to miss a meeting. I just think that's the right thing to do. We don't need to be having a meeting on Christmas Day. You know, we want to be with our families and taking part in the festivities that we do on December 25th, and then same with January 1st. Various folks celebrate in different ways. It's also college football day. So I know a lot of folks are going to be, you know, partaking in that. I'll be guilty of that. Go Ohio State. And yeah, so beyond that, you know, so we're almost to the top of the hour. So if anybody else has something they would like to show, speak now or forever hold your peace. Or if anybody has any questions regarding turning, now's the time to ask, because we've still got 45 people on here, and I'm sure there's 40 people here that would be able to answer that question. So with that, if nobody has anything, then I'm going to call the meeting. Yes.
I got a couple of pieces I can show, Dane. Little thing I'd like to talk about and something I could show.
Okay, Terry.
Can you find me?
Yeah, I got you.
If I can.
I'm getting you. Hold
I'm
on.
not there.
I can only move so fast.
These, I think I showed these before. They're kind of a Christmas ornament. We were making a lot of bird houses, and I decided to make a bird cage. And they got little lights on them, little tea lights, and you can see the bird inside. It's on a swing. It's come up pretty neat.
That's beautiful.
Pretty fancy. I made several of them.
That's slick, Terry.
But,
I like the detail on the top of the roof.
Hey, Terry, it looks more like a medieval jail.
No, that's
I'd have to put a little model of
No,
me in
it
there
looks
instead of
like
the
a
bird.
demo.
Well, actually,
I can't.
Terry,
My
So,
internet
okay,
service doesn't seem to
you
work. We
hold
tried to do that once.
Off for Dama one at a time.
Yes, I know.
We tried to do the demo once, and my internet service wasn't cooperating. So I don't know, but I wanted to point another thing to talk about a little bit, seems we got plenty of time. Yesterday I was out and I wasn't doing much, and I thought I'd go for a ride and maybe do some stump hunting, see what I could find for wood around the neighborhood. And I went over and I was riding around, and I saw this table leg thing laying on the side of the road. I said to myself, what the heck is that? So I got out of the truck and looked at it, and I got it here. I don't know if you can see this thing, but
wow,
this is some kind of an old table leg. The rest of it wasn't there. It was just laying there by itself. And this thing is solid walnut. It is not laminated. It is 2 solid pieces of walnut.
Wow.
Like 4.5-inch square tube. It's not checked or cracked or anything. And I sanded through it, make sure it wasn't laminated. It's 2 solid pieces, and it's pretty big. It probably weighs about 30 pounds.
I know you're showing off.
I wish I would have got the rest of the table.
You're showing off how strong you are, Terry.
But I don't know what I'm going to do with them pieces of walnut yet. When I lived in Tennessee, I probably wouldn't have got excited about finding big pieces of walnut. But down here in South Texas, it's a different story. But I thought that was pretty interesting. It must be really old because I don't know anybody that builds stuff like that. I wish I would have seen the rest of the table.
Oh, I know, right?
But, I'll come by and pick it up, Terry.
I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, but it's a piece of, like I say, it's some good stock, if nothing else. But those are solid pieces. I sanded all through. I thought for sure it was laminated when I picked it up, but it's not. The grain all matches. There's no marks in it at all.
Cool.
So, anyway, that's all I got.
All right, good stuff, Terry. Joaquin, you ain't got nothing to show?
Joaquin's always got something to show.
I know, right?
Yeah, well, I actually in the house here all
bashful.
There's a Christmas tree. I've got a couple of Christmas trees out there, but this is one of our house. This is Weisach with a little cross on it and natural edge on the bottom.
Pretty.
Yeah. So that's I picked up a bunch of Weisach off the side of the road the other day.
That's pretty.
Forward, thank you. And the rest of it's out in the shop, but that's all I got in here for right now. Christmas trees.
What kind of wood is Weisach? I've never heard of it.
It's a comparison to mesquite. It's mistaken for mesquite a lot because of the leaves and the beads on it, beans. But they're a smaller leaf, and the bean is a little bit skinnier. And I've got several pieces out of it. It's hard to come by.
Yeah, it's a legume. It's a shrub.
Yeah, but it's really got some pretty grain in it.
Yes,
a lot of yellow.
Yeah, yeah, we like our yellow.
Yeah,
mesquites.
Joaquin, how'd you do the cross on the top?
Well, let's see. This is picture that as just a circle.
Right.
Cross member is a circle, and then file it off, sand it off, whatever works the best for you.
Okay.
Yeah. I've done some angels as well. They're pretty amazing. How simple they are, that is. But yeah, that's about it.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you, Joaquin. Appreciate you sharing. All right. Well, does anybody, Gary, you got anything to show?
No, I've been busy. I was on vacation last week.
That's right.
Then I had a death in the family yesterday morning.
Then you had to deal with that. Yep. Sorry. My condolences. It's got to be rough. At least you're here now.
Yeah.
A little bit of therapy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got to go deal with the funeral Saturday, but we'll be all right.
Yeah.
I have a quick question for maybe Matt or anybody that happens to have the answer. I have somebody that asked me to turn them oh gosh, senility got me again. A bowl. What kind of bowl? Gosh, a what?
For knitting.
Knitting bowl. Yes, a yarn bowl.
A yarn bowl.
What's the typical size of a yarn bowl? I was looking on the internet. It said anything from 4 inches to 7 inches diameter. I can't imagine a 4-inch yarn bowl. What do we usually?
I would suggest going larger.
Okay, 7 inches.
If you could make one 10 inches in diameter, an internal diameter, that would probably be better received. Here's why. A lot of folks in the knitting world use, I don't know if they call them double skeins, but they're larger and they don't fit in the small 8-inch bowls. When I first started making them, I was making them 8 inches in diameter. and I got told by a local knitting store, a knitting circle, that they were too small for the larger double skeins they were using. So I've since started making them between 10 and 13 inches in diameter.
I love it. Glad I asked.
So, yep. And I a while back, I don't know, remember if it was this group or somewhere else, but folks asked about how to cut the slot. And one of the things I said, that I've tried a whole bunch of different things, and I even made some fixtures for the bandsaw to do it on the bandsaw. But one of the things that I found, that they make these little router bits for the Dremel. There's a little set of Dremel router bits. And there is a straight bit in there that worked the best. That gave me the quickest and best. And you guys know, I carve, and I have a lot of different options. Okay. And I've tried a bunch of different things for cutting that slot, but that straight router bit, that small straight router bit for the Dremel, that worked the best. And you put the little plastic Dremel attachment, the router attachment, on the Dremel. And then you put the Dremel bit in there, and you just go through that worked the fastest and the best for me. So, and I have a lot of different carving burrs and stuff to use, but that worked the best for me.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yep. So, and I've seen people who have built jigs to cut those slots on the lathe with a router. So there's a lot of different ways to do it. So
there's no standard way. I always make mine larger, minimum 13 inches in diameter, because the people out here, they always want to have multiple rolls of yarn in there, not just one yarn bowl. So 13 by 6, 7 inches deep. And then I will cut handle grooves, and they feed their line through it, as opposed to the J that's cut into the side. But it's all based on preference,
So when I was seeing 4 to 7,
larger.
they were talking about the depth. Okay. That's great. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. You bet.
So one other thing
Hannaby's going to go have breakfast. All right.
One other thing I learned was not to make tops for them, because they don't ever really use the tops.
Nope.
So let me show a couple of examples here. So I had a friend of mine send me a bowl that had warped, and because he didn't want to deal with it anymore. So, and the top was seriously warped. So what I did was I cut the top out, replaced it with some Padauk, and then I cut it into a yarn bowl.
Yeah.
So this one was about 8 or 9 inches in diameter, and this worked pretty good. It's a little too thick. I don't know if you can see how thick it is in the J groove or in the spiral. But the person who got this was real happy with it, because it was ambrosia maple and had a lot of character to it, and the top was real pretty. But don't make tops, because they won't ever use it.
I love it.
Let me see. I'm sure I've got another one here.
Right.
Yeah.
Matt, do you know what a rotozip is?
Yeah, it's another rotary tool.
Yeah, well, it's a little drywallers use it to cut out, light switch boxes and light boxes.
Yep.
It's
I did try the spiral bits that they use for drywall.
Right.
And that was really hard to keep where I wanted it to cut, because it was trying to cut through the whole thing.
You can get several different kinds of bits for it, though. Besides that drywall bit, there's other bits for it that work real good on wood. So I know guys that have used those for those yarn bowls.
Yeah,
they seem to work real good. They're really high speed.
The thing I found useful with the little the Dremel router bits was that you could go in 1/8 of an inch at a time, and so you had a lot of control over where your cut was going, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, because you're cutting, the slot you're cutting is really thin, and if you get too much vibration, you could break that cut, which is no fun at all.
Yeah,
so
that's true. Okay. Just
All
an
right,
idea.
sounds good. All right. So with
I got
that,
one more.
we're hold on, Matt. We're at the top
Okay.
of the hour, and this is going to be the demarcation point for the regular official meeting. So for those of you that want to drop off and without saying goodbye and announcing your departure, now's your opportunity. Otherwise, this is going to be the start of what I call the after hours party.